Good day, folks. Great White Smoke Barbecue back here today. What I'm going to do today is beer can chicken on the smoker. A lot of people find that the skin doesn't get as crispy when it's on the smoker. I do have the Traeger set to 275. What I'm going to do is put these birds on until they reach an internal temp of about 150-ish, and then I'm going to put them on my barbecue just to get that crisp skin. I've let these guys in the fridge just so the skin dries out a little bit. I also did pat them dry. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to use a chicken and rib spice and just coat the chickens. All right, we can't forget the back. Okay, these guys are nice and coated. We'll just pat the spice rub in a little bit. Now I've got two tall boys. Choose your own brand. I chose the cheapest because I'm not drinking it. I'm going to pick one of these chickens up. Open up the orifice here. Oh, being tough. I'm going to slide that chicken right on there. Use some of this extra seasoning to get the top. We'll do the same with this other guy. Just like that. All right, I'm gonna let these hang out for a little bit, wait for my smoker to get up to temperature, and then I'm gonna throw them on. Smokers come up to temp 275. Open the lid up here. We're gonna toss these guys on near the front. Make sure it's seated down all the way. Hopefully these will fit in. All right, moment of truth. Will the lid close? No. Have to move these guys a little bit further back. There we go. Gonna let these guys sit in there for probably about an hour and a half, and then I'm gonna come out and try and temp them. I've already gone through the lengthy process of peeling potatoes, just easier for you guys so you don't have to watch the whole time. I'm just gonna do one quick. Get the end bits off here. Last one. And throw the peels away. Just gonna wash this one. The rest of them have been washed. I'm just gonna cut them up quick in half. They don't have to be small chunks, but you want them all about the same size. That way they boil all together and are done at the same time. Again, using this Cutlux blade, sharp, love it. Links down in the description. Help support me. Got 5 more left. I'm just going to do this one like this because it's a smaller one. I also threw a bulb of garlic in a foil wrap in the oven for the roasted garlic for this. Very simple. You just take the bulb, you cut the head off, put the bulb on tin foil, oil, salt and pepper, wrap it up in a neat package, and then let it go for about 45 minutes at 400 degrees in the oven. Just going to transfer these potatoes into my water. And I'm going to throw them on the stove. Potatoes are on the stove, turning it up to high. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. And then we all remember the wooden spoon trick. Put the spoon in so it won't boil over. I'm going to let these go until they boil and are fork tender. I got some corn from a local farmer in Wellington, Lakeshore Farms. Really good. Fun fact, all these hairs, if you were to count them out all individually, they would equal the same amount of kernels on the cob. Just a little fun fact. Stupid knowledge. Fun knowledge. All right. Got the stem broke off of there. Peel off these hairs. Get this little guy off. And now we're going to go over to this stove where I've got an electric pan because I only have one pot. I'm going to try this out. It's full of water. And we'll just put it in the stove. Or sorry, in the pot. I'm going to cover it. And I'm going to turn it up to probably about 300 degrees. And once it boils, I'm going to let it boil for about 5 minutes. And then I'm going to shut it off and let it soak. All right, I came out about an hour and 45 minutes. The chickens are at 150. I'm going to throw the smoker on shutdown. I'm going to come over to my grill. I've already got the grill preheated. I've only done either side, not the one in the middle, because I don't want any flare-ups from the grease. Hoping I'll get some cooperation. There we go. Move this other guy over here. Hot. All right. I'm going to leave these be. I'm going to check on them every 5 minutes or so until that skin gets real crispy. My girlfriend and her kids were at the park the other day when a neighbor came over and gave them some cucumbers from his garden, so thanks for that. I thought to myself, what better to do with cucumbers than make a little cucumber salad? And I reached out to my aunt, who makes a really good one. I've got her recipe in front of me. I'm going to tweak it just a little bit. And I'm going to start off with thinly slicing some onions. You want these super thin. It's always nice to have a sharp knife. All right, let's do the second onion here. All right, now on to the cucumbers. I'm going to cut this in half and then cut this in half again. And again, you're going to want to try and do very thin slices. You don't have to use a knife. You could use a mandolin, but I prefer using a knife. And do the same to this half. Cucumbers everywhere. All right, move these off to the side. On to my second cucumber. This one's not as thick, so I'm just gonna do it whole and not bother cutting it in half. Try not to lose a finger in the process, because that's not part of the recipe. All right, get these all back on the board here. Kind of mix them all in together. All right, I've got a 1 liter mason jar here. I'm just going to start transferring them into it without making a huge mess everywhere, which seems to be happening. I'm going to pack them down. Hoping these will all fit here. Last little bit. All right, I'm going to push these all down. So what the recipe calls for is a 1/2 cup of vinegar. I'm using apple cider. I'm going to pour that in there. Calls for 1 cup of sugar. Might add this in stages, just so I can get it all in. And 1/3 of a cup of water. Make an even bigger mess. I'm gonna go get a fork out. I think I'm probably only gonna do 3/4 of a cup of sugar and 1/2 a cup of water. Then what I'm gonna do is put a lid on it, seal it up, give it a shake. Yep, that should do the trick. And I'm just going to leave this in the fridge for 24 hours. Back out at the Napoleon, let's give these chickens a check. Oh yeah, they look very nice. All right, I'm just going to shut off these burners, go get a pair of gloves. We'll bring them inside and chop them up. Corn came to a boil, let it boil for about 5 minutes now, just letting it sit. Potatoes have become fork tender. I am just going to strain them and re-add them to the pot. Strained off the potatoes, put them back in the pot. This is what I was talking about when I did the roasted garlic. Easy, simple foil package. This is what it should look like. I let it cool off a little bit because it does tend to burn your fingers, like it's doing now. Shouldn't call this Great White Smoke Barbecue. Should be calling it burning my fingers. All right, wash my hands off. I'm going to take some butter. Throw that into the pot with the potatoes. Don't judge the amount of butter. I'm going to take some sour cream. Throw that in as well. Move this spoon off to spatula off to the side and add a little bit of milk. Also, I'm going to grab my salt and pepper here. Don't have to really heavily salt it because we already salted the water when we were boiling them. And the potatoes will absorb that salt. All right, I'm gonna grab my masher. Mash it all in together. All right, now that I've got it mashed together, and take my spatula again, just kind of stir it around, let that butter all melt in. Then I'm going to grab some shredded cheese and throw that in, probably about half a bag. And stir that in. Cheese will start to melt because of the heat of the potatoes. All right, I'm going to leave that like that and throw a lid on it so I can keep it warm until we plate. Got these chickens off the smoker, or sorry, barbecue. Pulled the beer cans out. Again, burnt myself. So I'm just going to move one off to the side. I'm going to show you how to cut this one. What I like to do is come down, take these wings off. Baby's excited for some chicken. All right, now from here, I'm going to take off the thighs. You just follow this seam down. I don't even have to use a knife, guys. It's just falling apart. Looks delicious. You're going to notice that it is a little red. That is okay. That is just the smoke. Oh my goodness. I'm going to try a piece for myself. That is juicy. So, what we're going to do is come along the spine here. And then you can see, you can usually follow down with your knife against the bone, just kind of like you're filleting a fish, if you've ever done that. Do the same thing on the other side. Again, I know it looks like I'm struggling, but I'm just trying not to burn myself too much. All right, we got that breast off. Just going to pick a little bit more of this meat. I'm going to set this off to the side. Once this cools down a little bit, I am going to chop it up and I'll show you how to plate everything. Got everything all together now. Cut up the chicken. Just going to serve it. Do a chicken leg quarter. And a chicken leg quarter. I'm just going to cut a breast in half. Looks amazing. All right, now for the potatoes. And dish up these potatoes. Cheese is nicely melted in all of them. Okay, I got the corn set off on another plate. I'm going to end up buttering it and salt and peppering it. Let's try this meat. Let's see if this skin turned out crispy. Man, that's good. Some of these cheesy potatoes. Get the garlic right away, salt and pepper. Taste that sour cream. Again, folks, this may not be an everyday meal, but it's an easy meal. Like, follow, and subscribe for more.